What up, YouTube? It's your boy Sarong with Wisdom Boxing, and we back with another one. Subscribe.
Hey, if y'all watched my last video, the fight went pretty much exactly how I predicted the fight to go. And that's what you're going to get from Wisdom Boxing, is some pretty good quality opinions, and most importantly, some very good, accurate predictions. I did think that Errol Spence would stop Danny Garcia between the 9th and 11th round, which did not happen. Danny Garcia is very tough. And, you know, he did take some punishment. You know, he got beat up by Errol Spence. You know, you heard Danny Garcia's dad telling him, you know, he didn't beat you up. He pity-patted you. No, them shots hurt. If you look at Danny Garcia's face, you know, that jab was touching that face all night. And you can see in his face as a result. Danny Garcia definitely felt a lot of those body shots, and I know a couple of days after the fight, he's feeling the soreness all throughout his body. Errol Spence's jab was just entirely too much against Danny Garcia. And like I said in my last video, you know, with Danny Garcia being a flat-footed fighter and not super quick on his feet, a good, consistent jab can easily force Danny Garcia to have to think and not be comfortable in the ring with his rhythm. When you allow Danny Garcia to get his rhythm, it could be a scary night for anybody. And Errol Spence, from the beginning of the fight, just never gave Danny Garcia that chance. I mean, as soon as the bell rang, he immediately got in Danny Garcia's comfort zone and started pumping out the quickest, fastest, most accurate jab Danny Garcia had ever seen in his entire boxing professional career. Errol Spence, you know, he keeps his 2 belts, the IBF and WBC welterweight championship belts. And he remains the top dog in the welterweight division at 147 pounds. Okay, Danny Garcia, you know, he fought a tough fight. You know, he caught Errol Spence with some very good, sharp body shots. And it was a couple times in the fight, Errol Spence felt that. You know, he was never really hurt, but it was a few shots that did kind of hurt Errol Spence, where, you know, Errol Spence had to really stay focused and not fall asleep for 1 second against Danny Garcia. And Errol Spence's trainer, Derrick James, you know, is just underrated. You know, everything he was saying to Errol Spence in the corner was just right on the money. And like Errol Spence said before the fight, you know, all I got to do is just be sharp, be on my A game, and listen to my corner. And that's what Errol Spence did. You know, it was one time, you know, Errol Spence got a little tired around the 8th, 9th round, and that was the round that I thought he would really get that second win and end it. But that rust from the layoff plus the accident did kind of expose itself around the last 3 to 4 rounds of the fight. Errol Spence did not lose a beat, though. He's back 100%. It's just he got a little tiny bit gassed towards the end of the fight, which you would expect after that horrific car accident plus the layoff. But that makes it scary for Errol Spence's next opponent. Even after the fight, Errol Spence stated that, you know, I felt great. I felt fantastic. You know, he gives himself like an A, despite, you know, taking on this kind of fight after the accident. And I give him an A as well, considering the situation. I mean, the pressure he put on Danny Garcia, and to sustain that type of pressure against a Danny Garcia was very impressive. I mean, it was highly impressive. Errol Spence was in, you know, the best shape you're possibly going to see an athlete be in, you know, coming off that type of accident. I mean, just sheer motivation. Errol Spence showed that, you know, you can, if you survive something, you know, you should get better and be thankful and live and take life more serious. And that's exactly what Errol Spence is doing. You can see it in that fight. And even after the fight, you know, I just seen a recent video of Errol Spence earlier, you know, jogging. You know, it hasn't even been a full week since the fight, and Errol Spence is already getting miles in, staying in shape. So his next fight he's gonna be even sharper. His punches are gonna be quicker, and that is scary to say, because it's safe to say Danny Garcia, after fighting Errol Spence, is probably thinking to himself, you know, this guy got the quickest, stiffest jab I've ever seen thrown at my direction in my entire professional boxing career. I mean, Errol Spence was doubling, tripling, jabbing that jab all night. I don't think there was a full 3 seconds in the entire fight where Errol Spence wasn't shooting the jab, shooting the double jab, or shooting faking the jab. I don't think there was ever a full 2 or 3 seconds in the entire fight from the beginning of the bell until Errol Spence's hands was raised. I mean, to all boxing fans or boxing beginners, you want to learn the basic fundamentals of boxing, watch Errol Spence. He keeps his hands up and he shoots that jab. Errol Spence doesn't have to do tons of head movement. He does the basics. He does a good job, but he knows how to parry the punches very well. He knows how to just block your shots. He knows how to block extremely well. His defense is underrated. Errol Spence will stand right in front of you and allow you to punch, and he's just going to pick your shots off with the gloves. And he has a strong chin behind those gloves. So Errol Spence put on a clinic. It was a impressive fight. I might have gave Danny Garcia maybe 2 rounds in the entire fight, and that was only because Errol Spence took those rounds off to rest. If Errol Spence wouldn't have been in that wreck and would have been 100%, it would have been a shutout. And that's saying something against Danny Garcia. And to shut out a Mikey Garcia and a Danny Garcia, that is saying something. That is saying something. Errol Spence is the truth. And he is the future of boxing. The only person that I can see in the welterweight division giving Errol Spence a threat and can possibly beat him is Terrence Crawford. And I think Keith Thurman would give Errol Spence a good fight, a very good fight. Keith Thurman, with his injuries and the loss to Manny Pacquiao, I'm thinking people just starting to kind of underrate Keith Thurman, and they forgot that he did beat Sean Porter and Danny Garcia back-to-back, and he had Danny Garcia more hurt than what Errol Spence did. And I know Keith Thurman is probably sitting at home thinking like, you know what, I really want Errol Spence now. I hurt Danny Garcia worse than he did. I hurt Sean Porter almost just as bad as he did. Okay, but I hope you guys liked the video. Again, my prediction was pretty much like 90% or 85% accurate, and that's how all my predictions is. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, tell a friend to tell another friend. WisdomBoxing, we all the way up. Leave some comments and tell me what you guys think about the fight as well. All right, WisdomBoxing, we out.